What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back. So tonight, I just want to have a conversation with y'all about something. I've been seeing a lot of videos online about people having financial issues. People are struggling. People don't know what to do. And for a lot of people, 2025 is just not their year. And everybody seems to be broke right now. So I decided to just fill you guys in on what I believe is probably the number one reason and a couple of other reasons why you are broke in 2025. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to start out with the number one reason. It is because of consumerism. Yes, point blank period, consumerism. Every single person in this country is looking on their cell phone, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok at everything that everybody has. And everybody wants what everybody else has. Nobody is satisfied with what they have. All right. And I want to remind you guys something. A long time ago, you prayed for what you have right now. Literally, you prayed for what you have right now. And it's hard to see that from foresight, right? It's hard to see that. But you have to realize that everything is not for everybody. Everybody wasn't meant to live in a mansion. Everybody wasn't meant to live in a huge brick house in the suburbs or whatever. Everybody has their lane. And what you have to do is play your lane until you get to the next level. You can't cheat this stuff. That's how you end up broke. All right. Now, the biggest mistake I see people doing is putting things on credit, especially with this whole Klarna buy now, pay later era. Everything is put on credit and paid later. You are not supposed to do that. Credit is supposed to be used very sparingly at under a 30% threshold, guys. That's how you keep your credit rate rising. What I see people do now is they use their credit card up to 80, 90, sometimes even maxing their credit card out, paying the bare minimum monthly payment, keeping that compound interest building up, and they're staying in a revolving cycle of debt. You know why they're staying in that revolving cycle of debt? It's because you're spending money that you don't have, trying to impress people you don't know, buying things you can't afford. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? You're buying things that you can't afford just to impress people that have no idea how you got it, or they don't even care, to be honest with you. They have no idea and don't care. So here's my thing. In America, the state of consumerism is at an all-time high. The reason it wasn't at an all-time high in the mid-90s is because people couldn't see on their cell phone how other people were living. The only time you got to see how rich people lived was on TV. Now you cut on your cell phone and everybody sees a glimpse of somebody's life. Everybody sees that glimpse, that envy, that jealousy, that reason to go into debt just to get that leg up on your neighbor, just to buy the car that your neighbor doesn't have. You're willing to go in debt to do that, and that's why you are broke. You see, the key to having money is living within your means. And when I say the key to having money, I don't mean the key to being rich, because you're not going to be rich from living within your means, but you're going to be weller off than you were if you lived outside of your means. That means, yes, instead of getting a 5-bedroom house and paying $5,000 for rent, go ahead and get a 2-bedroom house and pay $1,500 to $2,000 for rent or something like that. Do something reasonable that's within your budget. And I know this is especially hard for guys, especially when it comes to the cars, because I'm going to be real with you. A lot of a guy's personality comes from the car he drives. I'm not going to lie. That car brings a sense of personality. It brings a sense of confidence. And so I know what you guys are going through. You want that Hemi V8, the Hellcat, the SRT, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you have to do what fits your pockets, not what fits the image that you're trying to portray. And I think that if people just get a hold of that notion, I think they'll be better off. Credit management is a big thing. A lot of y'all know we weren't taught credit in school. We weren't taught to keep credit cards at a 30% threshold and to make sure you make all payments on time and things like that, or it'll hurt your credit. We weren't taught this stuff, guys. So we're learning this stuff as adults, as we get older, as we make mistakes. Now, the younger generation, they're being taught this stuff. This stuff is all over TikTok. It's all over social media. You know, they're getting this info firsthand a lot of times while they're in high school. So they're coming out at 18 with perfect credit and able to maintain that credit. You see, we didn't have that. A lot of us, we graduated high school, we got a Macy's card, We maxed it out on polo boots and Ralph Lauren. And then we found out later, once it kicked us in the butt, hey, you can't get an apartment now. Hey, you can't open a bank account now. You know, a lot of people don't realize that. And for all my people that are living paycheck to paycheck, one of my biggest advices I can give you is to pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Even as a six-figure earner, I don't even count that as a lot of money, because at the end of the day, if I don't allocate my funds to what need to be allocated to, I'm going to be living in poverty. At the end of the day, yes, even a six-figure earner can live in poverty if allocations are incorrect. If you're putting money towards things that don't need to have money put towards them, like frivolous things, just, dumb things. Now, every single time you get your check, pay yourself first. You should be making at least enough to pay yourself 10 to 20% of your check per week or bi-weekly. Okay, you got to put that away and put that into a savings account. And that's not even counting your investment account. 5 to 10% of that should be going towards investments. And this is money that you're putting into stocks, crypto, Roth IRA, things like that, things that build compound interest. So you have something to fall back on that is outside of your savings account. And yes, even outside of your savings account and outside of your investments account, you should have a third reserve. That third reserve is an emergency fund. And you never ever touch your emergency fund unless you actually need to. You should be allocating 5%. So right off the bat, you should be investing, saving, and allocating at least 35 to 40% of your check. Now, I know that sounds crazy, right? This is why it is very important to get a degree or some type of technical certificate that gives you the opportunity to work in a field that's not open to people that just graduate from high school. Here's what I mean. You can get a job doing customer service, right? Sure. And you can get a job at Apple doing customer service, Home Depot, whatever. And they may pay you okay. They may pay you 22, 23 bucks an hour, which is not terrible. But at the same time, you're not going to thrive with that kind of money. What I mean is get an HVAC certificate, get your CDL, get an insurance license or something that certifies you to do what other people can't do. Now, some people got degrees, and what I'm going to say is try your best to get a job that makes sure you have your degree. All right, because if you get a job where a degree is not needed, your degree is pretty much useless. All right, I'm never one to advocate for people going to per se normal college institutions to get 4-year degrees, because the people I see making the most money in society are people without degrees. I'm going to be honest with you. And these people have went to technical colleges. They've gotten certifications. A lot of them are entrepreneurs. So I'm not going to be the one to say that just because I don't see it. So do something that these people cannot do, okay? Allocate your funds in the correct way where you're paying yourself first. Make enough money to put a quarter to a third of your money away in investments, savings, and emergency fund. And please realize that emergency fund and savings are two separate things. Savings is something that you're saving up for. Let's say you're saving for a down payment for a house. You're putting 10 to 20% of your check away for a down payment on the house. Boom. Once you get that savings built up, you put your down payment on your house. That should have nothing to do with your emergency fund. Your emergency fund is if stuff hits the fan. All right. When I say stuff hits the fan, I mean stuff hits the fan. Your job is gone. Health insurance is gone. You are in a state of emergency right now, and it's either use that emergency fund or use your credit. Always use your emergency fund first, because if you use your credit, you're just going to dig yourself deeper and deeper into debt. And for God's sakes, people, for God's sakes, please never get a payday loan. I don't know how many people I see doing this. Never get a payday loan. Never get a title loan. Watch out for these loan sharks. To me, the only reason you should get a loan is for an auto loan for your car, a home loan for your mortgage, or if you're going to get a debt consolidation loan that lowers your interest. That is the only way you should get a loan. And yes, for my people in debt, if you're in debt a lot, if you're in $50,000 in debt or more, Don't hesitate to get a loan for debt consolidation that consolidates all that debt and builds it into one low interest rate where you can pay off that debt in singularity, organized over a period of a couple of years. All right, because that's way better than making that minimum payment every month from these creditors and building that compound interest, and you're going to be paying forever. All right, that's a quick cheat code a lot of people don't tell you. So make sure you do that. As an adult, I've been pretty fiscally responsible. I got to tell you, I've been pretty fiscally responsible, but that is because I educated myself on this stuff. No one told me these things. I had to look this information up on my own. I had to fall on my face and get back up. All right. I'm 35 years old and I got a pretty nice credit score now. But when I was in my 20s, oh yeah, I could barely open a bank account with my credit in my early 20s, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I could barely open a bank account. I remember I got turned down for a Bank of America account one time because my credit was so bad. That was the worst ever. All right. Never put yourself in that position to where you are so ignorant of how credit works and you're so ignorant of how fiscally irresponsible you are that you can't even open an account. You can't even get an apartment. You can't even get a loan. You can't even get a credit card. All right. Make sure you're doing these things. Make sure you pay yourself first. That's one of the most important things about finances. A lot of people just tend to skip over is to pay yourself first. Always put that money away. I would say put that money away for yourself before you even pay anybody, before you pay any bills. Put that 10 to 20% away for yourself. All right. Secure yourself first. All right. There's so many other things, y'all. There's so many other things that go along with this. I'm just not going to name them all in this video, but I want to hear from some of y'all. All right. I want to hear from some of y'all on this subject. I want to know, are there any other ways that you feel like you can save money? And by the way, do not shy away from getting a side gig. All right. Don't be too proud to just go into the market, drive Uber for a while, drive DoorDash for a while, do what you need to do to get a leg up. If you know you can't put 10% of your paycheck away for yourself, then you need to do something else along with your normal job to make those funds, all right? So that you can allocate those funds for yourself, for your family, for those emergencies, for your investments. A lot of our generation is growing up and they're not going to have a retirement fund. They don't have a 401k. A lot of the people in our generation, they literally don't know what to do. The millennials are lost. When I say lost, I mean lost. We're living in trying times. The economy's going down. People just don't have it right now. So make sure you take care of yourself first. And I'm going to do a couple of more videos on finances because I feel like this is a very important topic that I'm pretty well versed in. So I feel like I should help a couple of people while I'm doing this. So yeah, guys, let me know if there's anything I missed and any other subjects on finances that you want to hear about. And I'm going to make a couple of more videos in the upcoming weeks about this. All right. And as always, if you like what you hear, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.